Hello and happy Lover Month. So it's February, and that means Valentine's Day is in this month. Now, some people may like that holiday, some people may not. I think it's cute. I think it's just an extra day just to spread love and show people you care, and also show yourself you care, self-love, all of that's pretty important. So the main goal of today is just to kind of go over some Valentine's Day February recommendations. So all the books I will be recommending today are going to be about love, romance, contemporary, dark, whatever it is. That is the main goal for today. I definitely love reading seasonally, so I will be picking up my own romance books for this month. But I just wanted to go over some top picks that I have read before that I definitely recommend you guys if you are looking for some new romance reads for this month. Okay, so I have a list. I'm going to be talking about 15 different books. Some of them are backlist titles, some of them are kind of newer, not super brand new, but there's no particular order in the way I will be talking about these. I will probably go over the ones that I physically own still, just because I have the books lined up right here. The rest of them I will just put a picture. That way you guys know what I am talking about. So let's go ahead and start just right over here. So this first book I definitely heavily annotated, as you can see. This one is very much self-love about women. So Women Don't Owe You Pretty. This one is, I feel like, essential if you are a woman to read. It really just reminds you of your worth and just how to deal with the way life is now. In a way, I read this maybe about like a year or two ago, but it still really sticks with me. I have it in my top favorites kind of like shelf, and I think about it all the time. I definitely want to reread this, but it's just a modern feminism book. And if you are very much into that, I definitely recommend reading this. It's a super easy read because the words are like very big. You have graphics in here. It's just very good. I've definitely annotated a lot, and you have a lot of just different sections on how to love yourself and going through relationships with other people. And moving on, this is actually a book I just finished reading, and this one took me a while to read just because it's a little bit on the sadder side, so it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But even though it was really sad, it was such a good romance book because the love between the main girl and the main guy, they were just perfect for each other. They worked so well. There was no, I hate miscommunication tropes. There was none of that. There was no like third act breakup scene, which I always hate those. So that is A Thousand Boy Kisses. Again, I've done my annotations. I've definitely put a lot of quotes from this book on my Instagram just because it's so quotable. But mainly this book is about a guy and a girl who meet when they're like little kids and they just fall in love instantly. And the guy ends up having to move away and they stop talking between that time, but he eventually comes back and they kind of rekindle, but there's something going on with the girl that may just kind of shatter their relationship. So it's such a sad but heartwarming at the same time book that I really do recommend you to read it if you're looking for it. This is a book that I will think about probably for the rest of my life. Like it's just so touching. Okay, and then I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard about these books. I mean, it's Cassandra Clare. It's not her Mortal Instrument series. That one is iffy. But I love the Clockwork series. It's a trilogy, so there's 3 books. This is the very first one, which is Clockwork Angel. The second one is Clockwork Prince, and I believe the third one is Clockwork Princess. I own all of them. And this is, like, I don't think she could probably write anything better. I've only read the Mortal Instruments and this series from her. I haven't read anything else. But this series just absolutely did it for me. It's kind of a love triangle. So if you know anything about her Mortal Instruments series, with Shadowhunters and the Fae and all of that, you're following the same world building, and it's dated basically before the Mortal Instruments. It's back in like the 1800s, I believe. But it's about this main girl, Tessa. She ends up just staying in a home with this family. They're not like related, but they all just kind of like stay together because they don't have like parents or anything. And the guy, there's two main guy characters, one Will and one Jem, and they're both very interested in Tessa, but they're developing whether or not they can kind of trust her, just because she's looking for her missing brother, and she herself has some magical powers that they're trying to learn about. And you just kind of learn about the whole dynamic between the three main characters, and I didn't know who to pick. I was like, I don't know who I want her to be with. They're all so great. I so recommend this series. It's so good. It's always engaging, and then the last book, you will cry. I cried so hard reading the last book. So it is kind of thick, but it's such a good series. The world building is really good too. Okay, this one is definitely a backlist title. Like, this one matches my t-shirt a lot, but this one is Die For Me. The little thing here says, would you risk your life for love? It's just your average, I feel like, supernatural romance book in a way. I really liked it, and I should probably reread this because I believe it's a series and I never ended up reading the rest of the books, but I would definitely like to do that. This one I remember as the main girl, it takes place in Paris, which is romantic. But she ends up moving in with, I think it's her grandparents. She meets this guy named Vincent, and he's super dark and mysterious. So he is a revenant, and what that means is he has to sacrifice himself over and over again to save other people's lives. And think they're like, they never age or something like that. I'll have to reread it, but I just remember the romance. I was like, it's like kicking your feet giggling type of romance. Like, they're just so cute. The way he just like talks to her and treats her. So if you want something quick and no like spicy scenes, just cute romance, this would probably be a good one to pick if you're into the supernatural elements. Continuing with a red theme, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, Me Before You. I watched the movie and I found out it was a book first, and I was like, I have to read the book. I love the movie. It's probably up there with the ranking of The Notebook. It's just so heartbreaking, but the love story is adorable. So it's Louisa is the main character. She's just trying to find a job. She ends up getting hired to take care of this. He's quadriplegic, so he's wheelchair bound, can't move any of his limbs. He can, I believe, move neck, just the rest of his face. He's very witty, very funny. They're British, and that was fun. And you just kind of watch her take care of him and make him feel happy, and they just kind of catch feelings for each other, and it's so adorable. The ending is really, really sad because it's him deciding whether or not he wants to live like this or not. But I definitely recommend reading the book and then watching the movie, because it's so heartwarming. She does have more in this series, but I've never read more. But it's so sad, but it's like that good type of sad. Okay, and then you can't recommend romances if you're not going to put in Emily Henry. So this one is Book Lovers. This was my first Emily Henry book that I read, and this one was, it was okay. I think that Beach Read was better than this one. I haven't really read much else from her. I'll need to keep picking up her books and reading more of them. But this one was pretty interesting because it's between the two main characters, and he's an editor and she's a writer, and they do not get along. So it's basically enemies to lovers. She ends up going to this small town, and he ends up going to the same small town, and they just keep running into each other, and they keep just having interactions, but they're just like not getting along until all of a sudden they start developing feelings, and they do. So it's definitely very bookish, which I like when she does book related writing. So it's very interesting, and you get to watch them hate each other all of a sudden to love each other. So if you're into enemies to lovers, I would recommend this one. And then another classic, this one I definitely want to reread. I don't think I'll have time for it this year, but to read this book and then watch the movies, I recommend this. That is To All the Boys I've Loved Before, because these are just so cute, and just to dive back into this world just sounds so cozy. Even if I can't read the book, I'm definitely going to be rewatching the movies on Netflix for this month of February, just to kind of be back in their world. I'm a Noah Centineo stan. I like him, he's cute. So him as Peter Kavinsky, I approve. And besides, the relationship is so cute, and the way she experiences or expresses her fear for love, and he kind of just like comforts her and like makes her realize it's not as scary as she's always believed it to be. So that's pretty much it for the books that I physically own. So I'm just gonna look at my list to see the rest, and I can input a picture either side here. So another good book that I would recommend if you are into the supernatural, this may be it's a good February pick. I even like that it has pink on the cover. You can also read it during Halloween time, just because it is supernatural. And I've recommended this book before, and it's My Roommate is a Vampire. This one is definitely pretty quirky, but I did still like it. I like the banter between the two main characters. He's very like an older type of vampire, so he's not very in with the times, so he's still like very formal in his writing and his clothes, and he's always like writing her letters instead of just texting her, and she's like trying to teach him the new modern world, and they just kind of catch feelings that way. So it's super cute. The other thing I would recommend is The Dead Romantics. I actually do own this, but I didn't pull it down. This one is by Ashley Poston. This one is the only book I've read by her, and I want to read more by her. This one is so cute. It's cute, but it's also sad in a way, just because the main character is dealing with grief and the loss of her dad, and her family is trying to plan this funeral for him, trying to get all of these things organized that he wanted for his funeral. It's just a really stressful time for her, and only her and her dad have this gift of seeing ghosts. And she ends up seeing the ghost of her new boss, and she doesn't understand it, doesn't really know what happened, how he died, but she can see him, and he's always there. They're just having really good conversations. They start catching feelings, and it's like, what do you do with feelings for somebody who's dead? But the ending was cute. I did like it, and it kind of all gets resolved, so it's a good happy ending, which who doesn't like a good happy ending? And then if you're looking for another enemies to lovers book, I would probably recommend The Love Hypothesis. This one I feel like is kind of iffy. I've never read anything else besides that book from her, but in a way it was kind of like I'm okay if I don't read any more from her, but I'm also like, I guess it was kind of cute. They're both in like college in a way, and he's kind of, I think, a professor, and so he's kind of like above her. But it started out as this fake dating because he needs to seem a certain way in order to get a certain position, and there's a reason why she needed to, but I can't. Oh yes, she needs to fake date too because I think her best friend got with her ex, and she doesn't actually care, but she thinks that they think she cares. So she believes that if she gets in this relationship with him, they'll believe that it's totally okay, and they'll keep seeing each other. And so they both fake date. I love fake dating tropes. And in a way it is enemies to lovers. He's super broody, he's super rude, everyone's kind of afraid of him just because he's so strict. And you just kind of watch him soften, and he is there to protect her towards the end when something kind of happens to her. So I like that he kind of became like a hero coming to her rescue type of man. And then I'll always recommend a Victoria Evers book. I'm dying for her to come out with the next in the series, so if you don't like reading books when all the series aren't out, maybe you can hold off on this one. But she started a new series. I'm waiting for the second book, but the first one is called Bedeviled, and it's like a The Bride of Hades type of story. But basically you have this main character, and I feel like in a way it almost kind of is like the Shadowhunter world, because you have these people called like the Underworlders, and they have magical abilities, and she ends up getting kidnapped by some of them. They take her to like an island, and they're trying to get her on their side. They want to have her join them in killing the crown prince of Greed. And then in order to do that, they have to attend the masquerade ball, which who doesn't love a good masquerade ball? I love it. But anyway, she's supposed to meet up with him and just kind of like make him fall in love. But there's so many just like twists and turns about the Underworlders who kind of like kidnapped her, and they're all like super attractive, and like who do you have feelings for? Because she just has chemistry with everybody. And people may not be who they seem. So I'll leave that there. I find everything she writes just so interesting. The brain she has to come up with all of these, I can't imagine. Well, this one isn't particularly romance, but it does have romance in it. So if you're not super into the romance, but you want a little bit, maybe The Inheritance Game is a good series to recommend. I've only read the first one, and I was waiting for the rest of the books to come out. They are all out now, so I should pick it back up and restart it. I'll probably do that soon. But the first one I thought was so cute. It is almost kind of like a love triangle too, because it is between two brothers and a girl. But basically it's about this rich family, and I don't know if he's the dad or the grandpa, but he dies, and he ends up putting this random girl in his will, saying that she gets a whole bunch of stuff, and everyone's like, why her, who is she? And you just get to learn bits and pieces. There's clues all throughout, and there's just like this hidden history within this family, and you're kind of like learning it, but also between these two brothers. The love triangle. And another one is kind of YA. This one is Always Never Yours. This one is kind of about, it's in high school, and they're doing like a Shakespeare play of Romeo and Juliet. And the main character girl, she's had really bad luck with all of her relationships. She'll get into a relationship with a guy, and he'll end up leaving her, and the next person he gets with, he instantly just like falls in love, and they have like such good relationships. So it's like she's always left, and they always find somebody who ends up being their person. And she's just starting to like feel like everyone's just gonna leave me, like I'll never find my person. But she's trying to like persevere, push through, and she really likes this guy who's she's actually playing with in the Shakespeare play, because she is Juliet. But she starts to take the help of the editor. His name is Owen, and she's trying to get with this guy, but eventually kind of catches feelings for Owen, so you kind of watch the dynamic shift, because she doesn't so much want the other guy anymore, she may just want him. So I thought it was really cute if you're into more of the YA romance type books. And then I also think that maybe if you're going through, maybe if you're not in a relationship, you recently just got out of something, you can read about something like that to kind of help process. Or if you're just interested in a more sadder side of relationships, you can probably pick up Why We Broke Up. This one I read years ago, but it definitely still kind of stuck. You kind of just go through these two people's relationship. The main plot of the book is that she's writing a letter to her ex about why they broke up. So you're kind of watching their relationship build and build, memories and moments and key items that she's like putting in this box to give him along with the letter on why they broke up. So you're watching them get stronger and stronger and just like be together just for it to fall apart and why they broke up. And it's a good read to kind of understand the, I don't want to say like the consequences of your actions, but like the meaning behind what happens when you do certain things, and how even if you want it to work, maybe not everything is meant to work that way. But then I just had my 15th book. My 15th book, I read this all the time growing up. My mom read this book, which was the reason I got into it. But this book has, or this series has a lot of books in it. But they all are so interesting. I definitely want to reread it. But it's Evermore by Alison Noel. And it's definitely supernatural. Maybe that's why I like the Marked Mage Chronicles so much, is it reminds me of this series. It's so good. But the main premise of this first book is that her parents, her sister, and then there's a dog, oh my gosh, poor dog, but they all end up getting in like this car accident and dying, and she's the only one who survives. And when she does survive, she survives with these new powers, so she can like see people's auras, touch them, and she knows like the story of their life and a bunch of other things that are, oh, she can read minds too. It's like just a whole bunch, very overwhelming, and she doesn't know how much to control it. She lives with her aunt, and so she moves and has to go to like this new high school, and so everyone's kind of deeming her as like this freak, this weirdo. But there's this really attractive guy named Damon, and he knows what she's going through. He understands her powers. He has his own. He knows how to control her powers to like turn them off and like calm her down. So she kind of gets sucked into his world. She has all these questions and she's learning from him. And throughout all of that, she just kind of catches feelings and he has feelings for her too. And you learn something secret about their relationship. They're like fated lovers. And you kind of dive more into that and how they're just like always destined to meet. And I think it's just like a really cute supernatural romance book that I would definitely recommend. But anyways, that is the 15 books I would recommend. I'm not reading any of those because I've already read them, but I do want to talk about the books that I'm currently reading for the month of February. So currently right now I'm in the middle of 2 books. I guess not really in the middle of one, but I'm reading on my Kindle. I don't have the ads removed, so I can't show you it on here, but I'm reading Hooked. And that is for a book club with a couple of friends, so that's pretty exciting. I love that that's our first book. If you've read the book, you're like, oh, that's a first book choice. But reading that, and then I'm also reading Phantasma. Really not much into it, but I have this on my Kindle and I have it here. I'm primarily focusing on Hooked first. It's also like the chapters are so short in both of these that they're so easy to fly through. And then I'm pretty busy this month with school, but I'm really hoping that I could finish both of those books, and I'm still looking forward to reading this one, which is Everything I Know About Love. Just because this is more about like self-love and like loving with your friendships, that I think this is good to read for Valentine's Day, because relationships with like a partner is, yes, Valentine's Day, but also relationship with your friends and yourself are important too. So if you're not in a relationship, buy yourself some flowers, buy yourself some chocolates, and read a self-love book. But that is pretty much it. That is all I have to talk about for today. I hope that you guys take these recommendations and read something romancy for February. It's always fun to read seasonally. Let me know if you have any recommendations for me based off of the books that I recommend that you think that I would be interested in. I'm always ready to listen to recommendations for books, and I'm very excited to see all the pinks and the hearts and everything for this month. So that's pretty much it. If you want to follow me on Instagram or on Lemon 8, I will link my stuff down below. You can also like this video, comment, and then subscribe to my channel. That would really be appreciated. And then later this month I'm planning on doing another type of Valentine's Day video, so look forward to that. But that's all I have for you today for this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll just see you in the next one. Bye.